Hi guys, in this video I want to show you how you can install Docker Desktop on your Mac. In my previous video I talked about multiple ways to install Docker on your Mac, and the first and the easiest way was installing Docker Desktop. I didn't go into details, but now I will, so let's go install Docker Desktop and then I will talk about some configurations as well. As a first step, I need to search for how I can install Docker Desktop on my Mac. So let's go and search for Docker Desktop for Mac install. Okay, and the first result is install Docker Desktop on Mac, which is from the official documentation, which is good because I usually prefer to use the official documentation. Okay, click on the link and now I have two options. I can choose the installer which was made for the Mac with the Apple chip, or the other installer which was made for the Mac with the Intel chip. Because I have my Mac with the M1 chip, I need the Mac with Apple chip, and I will not download it again because I have downloaded it before, and now I need to go to the system requirements. Again, I need to choose from two options, and I will choose the Mac with the Apple Silicon. Okay, so the first command I need to run is this software update dash install dash Rosetta, so I can install Rosetta 2. Let's go back to my terminal and run this command. I need to accept the license agreement. I accept it, and now I will have some error message, but after that it says it was finished successfully. Okay, so now let's ignore that error message for now and go back to my browser. So again, we need to choose because we can use the interactive way to install Docker Desktop, or we can use the other method which would use the command line. Now I will choose the interactive way, and the first step is already done because I have downloaded docker.dmg, so I need to go to my Finder to click on this file. Okay, let's click on it, and now I need to move this docker.app application into this applications folder. I drag and drop. Now I can finally close this window. When you install Docker Desktop, that installer will be mounted, so you can unmount it after the installation. You can just open the context menu and choose eject Docker. And let's try to open Docker Desktop. So I will search for Docker, and here is Docker Desktop. Okay, I need to click on this open button because this application was downloaded from the internet and I want to confirm it. Yes, I want to open it. Now I need to click on this other OK button and use my password. And finally, I can accept this Docker subscription service agreement. Okay, so I have Docker Desktop, and now I want to keep it in my dock because I will use it frequently. So I go to my dock and open the context menu and go to options, and now keep in dock. If I want to move this application to somewhere else because I want it to be closer to, for example, this terminal, because this is something that I usually use when I develop something, I can do that. So now I can start this getting started guide to learn about Docker Desktop. Let's click on the start button. You can see some commands. You just click on this and it will download a Docker image which will have Git inside, and using that Git it will clone a repository from GitHub and then copy it from the Docker container into my home folder. Okay, I don't want to finish this tutorial, but if you want to, you can just click on the next step and finish it. Now I will just skip this tutorial. Now let's learn about settings. So I go to the settings page, and I don't want to have weekly tips. And if you want to, you can enable this use Docker Compose v2 option, which means if you enable it, then when you use Docker Compose instead of Docker Compose, you will actually use Docker Compose v2 and not the v1. Another option that I usually like to disable is that send usage statistics. And this is because I don't like to send data to anywhere from any application. It's not about Docker, I just don't like it, so I disable it and I want to contribute some other ways. Okay, so now we can go to resources, and here you can set your memory requirements and the CPUs, or you can also set the swap and the disk size. I don't want to change anything here, but if you want, you can also change the location of the image, which is very useful if you want to move the image to another drive, for example, if your default drive is too small. We also have some experimental features, and I want to show you that. I usually enable this use the new virtualization framework option. Let's enable it, and also enable that virtiofs. And finally, you can choose to disable or enable Docker extensions. It is enabled by default, so let's install some Docker extensions. But first, if I want to finish these settings here, I need to apply and restart. So I will click on apply and restart. Okay, so it looks like Docker Desktop wants me to teach you how you can debug, because I wanted to restart Docker Desktop so I can apply the new settings, but it doesn't work. So let's see how we can fix it. I will go back to my terminal and try Docker PS. No, it doesn't work, so it means the Docker daemon is not running yet. But let's see if my virtual machine is running or not. So I actually need a command that I don't remember, so I need to use Control R to search for that command. This was something like cat, and yeah, this is it. So I can open the console to log in to the virtual machine. I need another enter, and I'm inside. So now I can use a CTR client, which will show me the containers that Docker Desktop uses. And these containers are not the containers that I want to use. These are the containers that will be used to run the Docker daemon and other components as well. So CTR ns list, because I want to see the namespaces. I have only one namespace here. I want to copy it. CTR -n and the namespace. Now I want to list the containers list. These are my containers. I want to see if the Docker daemon is running. Let's try that. And this is the container called Docker. Now let's try to exec into the container. I need to use the task subcommand and exec. I need an exec ID, which will be, for example, just test. It doesn't really matter. Now I want to set the name of the container that I want to exec into, and I need to set the command that I want to run inside. Let's run sh the shell. Okay, I'm not sure if it works. It doesn't work. Oh, I know why. Okay, so I need to stop it, and another parameter which I forgot to use, this -t, to get an actual terminal. Now I have my container here, so I want to use Docker PS here, and no, the Docker daemon is not running. Maybe I can see the processes running inside the container. Yes, I can see many processes, but the screen is too small, so I can't use my full screen. Okay, I will not find it here, so let's try to grep psaux and grep Docker. Okay, so what happened here? I tried to change the settings of Docker Desktop, And I've changed the virtualization framework and I enabled the virtiofs. Now, maybe that settings was the cause of this problem now. If it is true, then I just need to stop Docker Desktop, which will stop every container running inside that virtual machine, and I hope it will start again when I restart Docker Desktop. So, okay, I will quit Docker Desktop. And you can see how my console will shut down. So let's start Docker Desktop again. Here, oh, I don't need to go there because I have it in my dock. Okay, click on the link again and let's hope it works. I want my Docker Desktop working. It is starting. Okay, it works. So I don't know what it was. It looks like I had to restart Docker Desktop and now everything works. At least I hope everything works. So let's go back to the settings and check if everything is how I want it to be. Let's go to the experimental features and that is what I want to see here. Let's go and install some extensions. Let's close this page, this settings page, and go back to our main page. Here you can go to the add extensions and add the extensions that you like. Let's install some of the extensions. For example, I want to use this volumes backup and share extension. I also want to use, for example, this usage extension. Yes, I need this. I also want to install JFrog, and I don't want to install Portainer, but if you want to have another graphical interface for your containers, which is a web-based interface, you can install it and it will be embedded into your Docker Desktop. I also want to install this sneak extension. Okay, it will be enough. Let's go and see how it works. This is a disk usage extension, which I have already talked about in my previous video, which you can find in the description. So this is how you can install Docker Desktop, and as you can see, sometimes you can run into some problems, but even then you can try to restart Docker Desktop. If it doesn't help, you can still come to the forum and we will try to help you. And if you have some other problem that you want to be explained, then please let me know in the comment section and I will try to make a new video about that.